Alright people, happy Monday, how we doing? Just seen a dentist today for the first time since I got out in 2019. Because I got out in September 2019. Had no ID, no passports, no documentation. See, try to get a bank account, try to get this, try to get that. It was brutal, man. I'd lost my passport, so I had no documentation. And then COVID ended up hitting, so couldn't get to see a fucking dentist or nothing. Um, and then when all the lockdown stuff stopped and all that, I would be phoning about all these dentists and they'd be like, oh, we're not taking new patients, we're not taking new patients. So finally got one, got seen the day. So onwards and upwards in it. Um, yeah, so I wanted to jump on to a wee story about a guy for shorts, right, that you'll probably have never have heard of. But the story, it's quite a funny story. So I went to Castle Huntly, which is an open prison for. So I went there for shots in November 2006, right? But when I went there, see, because I had previous for like taking hostages, which was the two social workers when I was a schoolboy, all this kind of stuff, um, and a couple other things that were quite unusual for somebody my age that I've not been into, but I will get into, right? Nothing kind of, nothing that's going to really raise eyebrows, but I'm going to get into it soon. Um, but I'd be going to risk management meetings with the governor and social work and psychology, and they were saying things like, you should have went to Friarton, which is a semi-open prison. It was in Perth. It's no there now, I don't think. You should have went to Friarton instead of coming direct for shots. And I'd be like, fucking send us back to shots then. I wasn't even getting treated like this in shots. So, do you know what I mean? Which is quite ironic. Um, because obviously I thought I was going to sail through the castle the way I sailed through shots, do you know what I mean? And because there was screws and shots who knew me from the young offenders, and they were saying, oh, they're changing that guy, they're changing that guy. But I went to the castle and they were acting like I was still that guy for the young offenders. So, um, anyway, took me ages before I was even getting home leaves. And I didn't even get my full home leaves, like my full 3 days. I was getting staged home leaves, like could get the train from Dundee to Glasgow and come back like 4 hours later and all this shit. You end up spending more time on the train than fucking on your home leave. But anyway, so what, I had an illicit mobile phone after that bought off a guy who I knew for shots, right? And so one night we're sitting in my cell, right, and I'm sitting fucking, I was texting this bird, right, this Italian hairdresser bird, who I had got talking to through my cousin, and like I don't know if I'd mentioned before, but I was right into languages, and that knows me will tell you, like, I'm right into like learning languages and like geography, all that shit, right? So anyway, um, sitting texting her, right, and the phone goes, but know how if it's the number's no stored in the phone, the number comes up, right? So I'm like that straight away. That's somebody that's not got my number. So I answers it like, hello, like, who's this, right? Is that Chris? Talking at the side of the mouth, right? I'm like, who's that? And they're like, it's Mr. X Faye. And then they said the name of the scheme they were for. Now, I don't want to name this person because he's quite a high profile organised crime figure. Um, and I was in shots when he was there. I would say alright to him in the past and never had a full scale conversation with the guy about anything. And when this guy said this on the phone, I knew straight away it wasn't who he was saying he was because one, he sounded too old, and two, if this was really this guy phoning, he wouldn't need to say it's Mr. X from Scheme A, because everybody in the penal system in Scotland knows who this guy is, and he doesn't need to say what area he's from, because as soon as he tells you his name, his moniker, you would just know, right? So I'm like, that's no fucking Mr. X, and he's like, how do you know? And I says, one, you sound like old enough to be this guy's dad. I says, and two, you wouldn't say it's Mr. X from blah 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 because everybody knows where he's from, right? So he started kind of getting, he was getting, I wouldn't want to say cheeky, right, but he was just playing total games with me on the phone, right, because I didn't know who it was. I thought it was somebody within Castle Huntly who had got my number and they were just noising me up because I could hear people giggling in the background and all that. But my wee pal, Jai, I was in shots with him and he's sitting going, who is it? Who is it? And I'm like, I don't fucking know, right? And we're sitting pure, and this was going on for a good 10 minutes, right? So while he's talking, I'm like, fucking declare yourself and you fucking daft to see all that shit. Just try to push his buttons so he would, like, take his mask off, tell me who he was, right? And I've done, while he's been speaking, I've done that with the phone to wee Jai's ear, right? And he's done that. That's Ricky Gambino, right? That's not his real name. His real name is Ricky, but he get called Ricky Gambino in shots because, like, we used to call him the Fonzie, because he did look like Fonzie out of Happy Days, right? But anybody ever I heard speaking about him called him Ricky Gambino because he was always like talking all that mad gangster shit, who was coming out to see him, who he knew, and name dropping and all that kind of shit. So I'm like that. When I've took the phone back, I'm like, Ricky, you fucking daft, you're fucking dead, not? And he's like, what, fucking, what, you prick, not? And I was like, what you fucking phoning me saying you'll hang me for? It's like, you don't fucking dare that, mate, that's heavy piping. And he's like, it was a fucking joke. And I was like, well, I don't know if this other guy would have thought it was a joke, right? But anyway, that's not the point. The point is, like, I was just no happy about it at all, and I was like, he's like, aye, we'll see when I come up the castle. So I was in my 20s, I was, let's say, 24, 25, this guy was in his 40s, right, he was in for a murder or something, and he's like, aye, we'll see when I come up there. I was like, aye, will we, aye? It's like, that right, we'll see then, you fucking dafty, I'll be waiting for you getting off the bus. And I'm like, I'm not going to last up here, because see all the shit with this, the way the staff were treating me, I just thought, may as well just fucking going back to shots in style or that mad fucking, you know what it's like when the old itch starts kicking in, know what I mean? You start talking yourself into shit and all that. And I was doing my education that anyway, so it wasn't like I was causing trouble or nothing, but as what it is, it's a jail and anything can fucking happen at a moment's notice, man. So he didn't even come up there. I got downgraded. And I went to Glen Oco for 10 months and I kept asking to go back to shots and they sent me back to shots, right? But see, I'm walking into shots, I was walking into B Hall with my barra full of all my stuff. And so when you walk in, it's like a long corridor and you can turn left, turn right, and there's phones at the end of each section. Who's standing on the fucking jail phone? That Ricky, right? And I'm like, what's he got to say here, right? Just, would I gave him the out if he was going to take it, but you need to just hope that's what's going to happen, know what I mean? So he's like, alright mate, where'd you come for there? And I'm like, Glen Oco, and he's like, oh did you? Aye, but he's on the phone to fucking his brother, I don't know, he's on the phone to, right? And I was like, he's like, I'll talk to you when I come off the phone. And I'm like, aye, right. So that could mean anything in fucking shots, man. Could mean, I'll talk to you in a minute, or aye, sound, I'll talk to you. So I don't know what way he's fucking, but I wasn't not gonna lie, I wasn't that worried about it. And he's walked up and he started talking about it when he's come off the phone, blah blah blah, and I'm sitting thinking he's not gonna start anything. I done that to him. You don't know who I'm up, do you? But I knew he knew, do you know what I mean? I just try to kind of resolve it in a diplomatic way. And he's like, what do you mean, no? And I says, I'm the guy you were phoning up the castle saying you were so-and-so. And he's like, oh, that was a joke and all that. But I was just glad it was resolved and I wasn't getting summoned into a gaff to fucking explain myself to somebody else. It was, do you know what I mean? Aye, fucking hell. But I remember I was in education after this in shots and people were talking about him. And one of the guys who was talking about my room, he was in C Hall, but I was in the NIC with him, and he's like, aye, that Ricky Gambino, do you know that he phoned somebody up the castle saying he was such and such? And I was like, aye, that was me he was phoning. And he was like, what did he do that for? I was like, fucking ask him. But it just shows you, like, that could have fucking went, that could have ended up fucking, do you know what I mean? Because the guy that he was saying he was, like, it's not the type of guy you want to be tangling with, you know what I mean? he's not that much older than me, maybe 4 or 5 year older than me, but it's not the age, do you know what I mean? It's just some wars just on the, especially or something like that, like you'd be fighting the rest of your life with people like this, man, and the chances are you're not going to win the war, you know. But I thought I'd kind of come on and do that wee funny story. It's funny because it ended well, do you know what I mean? But I'm just waiting on my kid coming back from school, and then I just wanted to say before I go, I'm trying to get my big pal Jerry on for the Gorbals, man. He's got some funny fucking stories. Try to do see like a Zoom call that Big Ricky done with me, but I'm trying to fucking figure out how to record Zoom calls, and do you know what I mean? It's still early days with all this YouTube stuff for me, so but this guy's a walking encyclopedia, man. He knows everybody, and he's like one person removed from everybody else. Do you know what I mean? He knows all my mum's side of my family, like, cause he's fae the Gorbals. Do you know what I mean? Which is where my mum and all that and my dad are fae. So, he's doing right well for himself. He's on the straight and narrow. He's helping out in soup kitchens and food banks, all this kind of shit. He's career criminal obviously, but he's on the straight and narrow now. He's doing well, do you know? So it's good to see that, and it's good to see a bit of support for people like that, because there's no enough, like, no, like, we're all expecting a fucking pat in the back, but there has to be more done to to enable people going straight, especially career criminals, because there's nothing for them. It's all that, as I said before, all this legislation and all this third sector organisations getting funding for the government. It's all aimed at guys that done like 18 months, three year, 8 days. It's guys who are probably likely never going to reoffend again. Do you know what I mean? Whereas there's people like me, there's people like Jerry. We've been in and out of prisons for fucking high school. Do you know what I mean? And it's basically get out and get on with it, or we'll be here to take you back in, revolving door shit. So, I'm hoping to kind of get that up and running sometime, because obviously it would just be is get some funny stories and some serious stories. Do you know what I mean? So and it's the way he tells them, and always just funny as fuck, man. Know what I mean? So I hope that was entertaining. Um, I'm got to have to go because my kid's due back any moment now. So want to try and get this up, and hope you have a good evening and that, and hope you're all safe and well. Speak to you next time I'm on.